We're going to shorten it, so don't worry. We're going to finish before 7:30. I would like to invite Jonathan Peled from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, who is in charge, works at the Economical Innovation Department. And after that, we're going to listen to David Bavilacqua, who came especially from Italy, the Vice President of Cisco to South Europe. And he's going to portray the future of technology and where can Israel innovation can find its position in that future. But first of all, Jonathan Peled from Ministry of Foreign Affairs.
Thank you very much. Good evening. Let me just commend the member of Knesset, Margalit, for putting innovation in the service of peace. I definitely relate to that, and I'd like to briefly give you an overview of what we as diplomats and ambassadors do. I don't know how many of you, maybe many of you ambassadors are familiar with the definition of diplomacy, but one way of describing diplomacy is it's the art of telling someone to go to hell and make him look forward to doing so. So in a nutshell, what we as ambassadors and diplomats are doing promoting economic diplomacy is exactly telling people to do business with Israel and making them look forward to doing so. And that's in a nutshell basically our job in the foreign ministry. How do I do this? I think this speaks for itself. Just in terms of what diplomacy in the 21st century is all about, it's about promoting economic interests and cooperation. Some of general facts and figures, most of you know them. I won't go over them, but these figures are the reason why the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and the Economic Division that I'm one of the heads of has decided to focus first and foremostly on innovation and promoting Israel as an innovation hub. Member of Knesset Margalit mentioned the fact that we need free trade agreements, and that's very good because I have here for you an important list just to show you. We're still not as far as Chile is or Mexico, but we're still boasting 8 free trade agreements with all the major economic blocs in the world. We've just been accepted as observers for the Pacific Alliance, Mexico, Colombia, Chile, and Peru. And we're negotiating free trade agreements with India and other countries. And we are the first and only member out of Latin America that is has a free trade agreement with Mercosur in South America. Just to give you a general view of our exports today, you can see Europe still is our major partner, commercial partner, but the United States as a country is our leading export target, and we still have a lot to do in Africa and Latin America. Economic diplomacy in a nutshell, I told you before. Our advantage is that we are spread around the world. We have 102 embassies and trade missions around the world. We have our feet on the ground. And we have economic ambassadors, and our job is to direct them, to guide them, and to finance their activity. And when we say branding, and I'm glad to see that Yael, where is Yael? You're using the creative energy that we in the Foreign Ministry have made and established, which we call the branding language. If you see, you'll see in a second in the next slide, Israel, that's the new branding language that the Israeli Foreign Ministry has established over the last few years, and slowly it will become widespread in Israel. But we say that branding brings business and business brings branding. And so in that sense, we are in the business of innovation and in the innovation, if you like, of business. How do we do this? By establishing a framework between governments through economic agreements, through free trade agreements, through G2G agreements. We promote trade, exports, investment, and development policies. Sustainable development today is an important part of diplomacy. Technical and technological cooperation. We have today 45 R&D agreements all over the world. We're currently negotiating with California, with Mexico, and with Colombia also R&D agreements. And we have very important and prominent bilateral R&D funds. Some of you, I'm sure, are familiar with the BIRD with the United States. But we have also, we've just obviously finally managed to negotiate a Horizon 2020 partnership. We can discuss that later if you have any questions, and of course with other countries as well. In general, our department, our job is to integrate and coordinate between all the different economic bodies in Israel, whether it's the different economic ministries, whether it's the different Export Institute, Chambers of Commerce, Industrial Manufacturers Association, and so on, coordinate their activity, and with an outward approach through our 102 embassies around the world. We promote Israel as an innovation hub. We've identified 26 countries in which we are conducting innovation programs. One of them, for example, we have created in our embassies a startupist competition. Each embassy organizes a local startup event, and the winner of that contest is invited to Israel to the DLD conference in Tel Aviv in October. We've done this twice, 2 years running, great success. That's just one of many small projects that we lead. And of course, we deal with traditional economic business as well, whether it's opening new markets and searching for new opportunities, participating, promoting, financing international conferences, WATEC. Recently, we had the Cybertech conference. The foreign ministry puts money, promotes, and invites participants and ministers to come to Israel to participate in these exhibitions. And of course, we participate in the major exhibitions overseas as well. We invite business delegations to Israel. Tomorrow morning, I'm sitting with the president of Peru and giving him an innovation seminar. We're bringing to him, to his hotel in Jerusalem, 4 innovation companies from 4 different sectors: HLS, water, medical devices, and e-education, and presenting him in a nutshell what Israeli innovation is about in tangible and concrete measures and manners. We try to organize B2B meetings. We're not just for the sake of showing how Israel is innovative, but we also bring startup companies. We're organizing delegations now to Chile and to Colombia, and vice versa. And of course, we assist Israeli companies, whether it's in Africa, South America, or wherever they need it. We try to open doors for them. We try to help them accede or access tenders and big projects. We are trying to introduce more and more the concept of PPP, public-private partnership, to assist Israeli companies to win tenders abroad through a G2G agreement. If we like, we can discuss that later. I'm a member of ASHRA, which is the Israeli export credit agency, where we give loans to companies who do business and invest in high-risk countries, mostly in Africa and South America and Asia, but not only. We have a very, very prominent and important international cooperation program. I hope all of you have heard of Mashav. I urge you to read about Mashav, but this is one of our prides, really, of Israeli cooperation. We used to call it international aid or assistance. Today it's called cooperation, international cooperation. We have a great project with Sweden and with other countries around the world, and this is giving us a great lead and boost into the business communities where we work. And last but not least, obviously, we are applying constantly public diplomacy through our social networks, our Twitters, our blogs, branding, as I said, creative energy, what we've been mentioning and seeing. So, in a nutshell, what I jokingly very often say, government is in the startup business. So thank you very much.